Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're building a clear, structured blueprint of the Indian Parliament, and we're putting a magnifying glass specifically on the Lok Sabha. If you've ever wondered how the gears of one of the world's largest democracies actually turn on a day-to-day basis, you're in the right place. We're going to unpack the rules, the roles, and the sheer scale of this legislative body.
All right, let's jump right in by stepping directly into the physical space where the magic of democracy happens, the Lok Sabha chamber. This room is the absolute epicenter of representative democracy in India. It's often called the House of the People for a good reason. Its members are directly elected by the citizens. So it's not just a big room, it's a highly structured arena where the voices of over 1 billion people converge.
Here's our roadmap for today. 1. Inside the Lok Sabha. 2. Qualifications for membership. 3. Rules of parliamentary procedure. 4. How bills become laws. And finally, 5. Role of the Speaker.
Section 1. Inside the Lok Sabha, building the foundation.
Let's start with a crucial number, 550. This represents the absolute maximum strength of members in the Lok Sabha, as allowed by the Constitution. Think of it as the hard upper limit for how many voices can simultaneously hold a seat at the table in this massive democratic forum.
And how are those 550 seats actually sliced up? Well, the Constitution mandates that no more than 530 members represent the states, and up to 20 members represent the union territories. It's a very precise division designed to make sure representation is balanced across India's massive geographical and demographic spread.
To round out the basics here, keep the number 5 in mind. 5 years is the normal operating term for the Lok Sabha. Unless the president dissolves it earlier on the prime minister's advice, the House runs on this strict 5-year cycle before the slate gets wiped clean and brand new elections are held.
Moving on to Section 2, Qualifications for Membership. Who gets to play the game?
So who actually gets to sit in those seats? You can't just walk in off the street. A candidate absolutely has to be an Indian citizen and at least 25 years old. They must have their name registered on the electoral rolls. They also can't hold an office of profit under the government. Gotta avoid those conflicts of interest. Add to that, they can't be a proclaimed criminal, must be of sound mind, and they cannot be an insolvent, meaning no unmanageable crushing debt. It's a strict baseline filter to ensure the representatives are mature, financially stable, and legally in the clear.
Section 3. Rules of Parliamentary Procedure, the rules of the game.
Once the members are in, the very first operational rule is the quorum. Think of it like a sports match. You need a minimum number of players on the field to officially start the game. For the Lok Sabha, it's 1/10 of the total membership. Without that minimum present, the House simply stalls. The Speaker literally has to adjourn or suspend the meeting until enough members show up.
Now, when they do establish that quorum, the real work kicks off, usually starting with question hour right at 11 a.m. During this time, members use a phenomenal democratic tool called interpellation. This is their formal right to ask the government questions on matters of public interest. It's basically the primary way to keep the government completely transparent and hold their feet to the fire.
But how they ask these questions is fascinating. Look at the contrast here. If an MP really wants to grill a minister live on the floor, they submit a starred question, literally marked with a little asterisk. That guarantees an oral answer and lets the MP fire off supplementary follow-up questions right on the spot. On the flip side, unstarred questions just get a formal written memo in reply with 0 follow-ups allowed. It's the structural difference between dynamic live debate and a quiet paper trail.
Then, right as the clock strikes noon, question hour wraps up and the infamous 0 hour drops. This is where things get incredibly dynamic. Members can suddenly raise urgent public matters without giving any prior notice whatsoever. Because it's completely spontaneous, this is exactly when you see the most heated discussions, the charges, the countercharges, and constant interruptions. It is raw, unscripted democracy at its peak.
Section 4. How bills become laws. The lawmaking flow.
So how do all these people actually produce the laws we live by? Well, every single ordinary bill has to survive a brutal 3-step gauntlet known as readings. Step 1 is the first reading, which is basically just introducing the bill and its goals. Then comes Step 2, the second reading, and this is the heavy lifting. We're talking a meticulous, clause-by-clause teardown where major changes and amendments happen. Finally, it hits the third reading, the ultimate, final yes or no vote on the bill as a whole.
But surviving the Lok Sabha isn't the end of the road.
Once a bill passes those 3 readings, it gets shipped over to the second house, the Rajya Sabha, where it faces the exact same rigorous process. It's only after a bill survives both houses that it finally lands on the president's desk. Once the president gives their assent and signs it, boom, that draft officially becomes a law of the land.
There is, however, one massive exception to this rule, and it highlights a huge superpower of the Lok Sabha. Notice the difference here. Ordinary bills can start in either house, but money bills, anything dealing with taxes or the nation's finances, those can only be introduced in the Lok Sabha. When a money bill is sent over to the Rajya Sabha, they get a maximum of 14 days to review it, and they absolutely cannot reject it. The Lok Sabha firmly controls the country's purse strings.
Section 5. Role of the Speaker, the ultimate referee.
Managing 550 members, navigating heated debates, and processing complex bills requires a serious referee. That is the Speaker of the Lok Sabha. They aren't just a host. They hold immense administrative and disciplinary power. If things get out of hand, the Speaker can literally order unruly members to leave the room. If someone uses unparliamentary language, the Speaker can have those specific words completely expunged, erased from the official record. They also preside over massive joint sessions of Parliament and appoint the chairman of all the committees. Inside the House, the Speaker's word is law.
Which brings us to the end of our explainer. I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. We've just mapped out strict seating limits, rules for live questioning, the rigorous lawmaking gauntlet, and the absolute power of the Speaker. So consider this. How does this highly structured blueprint actually prevent chaos and directly shape the everyday reality, the rights and the future of over 1 billion citizens? It's a pretty incredible machine when you look under the hood, isn't it? Thanks for joining me, and keep questioning how the rules of the game shape the world around you.